I've grown very cold-hearted towards the Marvel Cinematic Universe in recent years. I guess there may have been a few good projects here and there in the post-Endgame era, but ultimately a majority of it has been very hit or miss with me. So for that reason, I can't say that I was really looking forward to seeing Captain America: Brave New World. In fact, my original plan for this movie was to just skip it and wait for it to come out on Disney+. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this movie a shot, because why not? It might be really good. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. So I went into the movie expecting it to be average at best, and I was surprisingly right. This movie is just fine. Yeah, it was pretty much what I expected. It's a fine movie, that's all it is. But even though it's a fine movie overall, there are some aspects about it that just drive me insane. Why does it drive me insane, you may ask? Well, let's grab our shield and painkillers and dive straight into this then, shall we? This movie's plot is so aggressively predictable that it isn't even funny. First off, it starts off with a weird, bland-looking Marvel Studios intro logo, and in my mind I'm already thinking, we're already off to a rough start. We then see General Ross become the president. We then get a few recap scenes from the Incredible Hulk, which I'll admit is kinda nice to see. After the opening montage, we get to see Captain America, who is now Sam Wilson, and his super buddies track down a package which is revealed to be adamantium. Oh boy. After retrieving the package, we then get to see Captain America, the new Falcon, and Isaiah Bradley attend the White House. So far, this is a decent opening. Aside from maybe the utterly horrible logo, I can't say this is really a terrible opening because the opening action scene, I'll admit, is kind of fun. I will say the editing is a tad bit choppy, and it does have that typical MCU humor that really doesn't land well at all, but overall, not a bad opening scene. I like it. But after this, it all eventually starts to go downhill. Anyways, at the White House, President Ross meets with Sam about reforming the Avengers. Things suddenly turn sideways when Isaiah is taken over by a powerful entity by attempting to kill the president along with other inside agents who are being controlled as well. Yeah, we'll talk more about this later. So after this incident occurs, Isaiah is then taken out of the mind control, gets arrested for the attempted assassination on the president, leading Captain America to investigate, which leads him to find out that Samuel Stearns from the Incredible Hulk is behind the whole thing. Turns out his plan was that he wanted the US to retrieve the adamantium so that he can start a war to ruin Ross's reputation. Okay, so a few things. You're telling me that this guy did nothing for years, and suddenly he wants to start a war to make President Ross look bad? And also you're telling me that he can just control anyone's super soldier serum blood anytime he damn well pleases from prison? Are you kidding me? Also, if any of this sounds confusing to you, just take it like this, in simpler terms. His motivation is just reduced down to a typical I'm out for revenge type deal. Oh my gosh. You had 17 years to bring this guy back in action, and this is the best you could do with him? Really? Later on in the film, Ross then reveals that he kept Stearns in prison to find a cure for his cancer, which allowed Stearns to provide him painkillers that eventually turns Ross into the Red Hulk later on. Oh, brother. Apparently, using the guy that you take captive as a test subject to give you medicine pills is obviously going to end well, am I right? Then there's this huge battleship fight.
You sunk my battleship! Who, me?
It's between Japan and the United States at the Celestial Island where the Eternals took place. Anybody remember the Eternals? Good, because I don't either. The attack is then averted thanks to a Captain America. Stearns' plans are foiled, he gets arrested, and that's pretty much it for his character. I wish I wasn't lying, that's literally the last time we see him. Until the post-credits scene, but we'll talk about that later. The movie then ends with Ross turning into the Red Hulk, leading into the most underwhelming third act in history. Captain America and Red Hulk fight for a few minutes, Ross turns back to normal and is taken to prison. We're then reintroduced to Liv Tyler's Betty Ross, and yeah, that's it. That's the entire plot of the movie.
That's it?
Like I've stated before, the plot is utterly predictable. I mean, I knew everything that was going to happen within a matter of seconds. The reveal that Samuel Stearns was the villain was something that and I'm pretty sure others can say that they saw coming. This movie ultimately just feels like a worse version of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It also suffers from a lot of giant pacing issues as well. One moment there will be an action sequence happening, then we'll jump into an exposition scene, then maybe a character will crack a joke that doesn't land well, and then suddenly, boom! There's another action scene. This movie has really weird pacing and it's hard to keep up with all of the story beats. On top of all of that, it's either really boring or mildly frustrating. The third act alone feels like it's the most rushed. While it is cool to see certain characters like the Red Hulk show up in action, he only gets like less than 3 minutes of screen time and the whole final fight just feels underwhelming. Also, you can really tell that a lot of the CGI in this film looks unfinished too. I will talk about some of the characters in this film as well. None of them are even remotely interesting aside from maybe one. I've already stated before that the main villain sucks, so we'll just talk about him very, very briefly. You're telling me that this guy can control super soldier blood anytime he pleases, but chooses not to? How does that even work? The one Israeli character whose name I really don't remember is just there. She's literally just a background character and is not important to the story at all. The new Falcon guy is mildly annoying. He's not the most annoying character in the world, but I just find him to be unbearable a lot of the times. Sam Wilson to me doesn't really feel like Captain America. I mean, sure, he's got the shield, but he's also got like wings, he's got like a helmet, he can fly. I mean, I guess Anthony Mackie does an okay job playing him, but to me, he just kinda lacks the empathy and heroism that Captain America is supposed to embody. It really doesn't help that his character arc is pretty much the same thing he learned in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is not being good enough to carry the mantle. How many times do I have to see the same character learn the same lessons over and over and over again? It's really starting to get old at this point. Come on, Marvel, try something new. Giancarlo Esposito's character doesn't have that much screen time either, and it's a total wasted talent. He's another character that just gets pushed to the side so the plot can move forward. What are you doing? This is a talented actor here. You literally had him in the trailers advertised to be one of the big main bads, but you do nothing with him. You just push him aside. The one character I did genuinely really care about was Ross. That one emotional story beat with him and Betty was actually not too bad, and I quite liked it. It definitely humanizes him as a character more, and seeing the Red Hulk on screen is admittedly really cool, even if it's just 3 minutes, which is what I expected, to be honest, and I'm kind of disappointed by that. I also like to point out the fact that Harrison Ford is by far the best actor in this film. Kudos to him for actually trying, but other than Ross, I just really don't care about anybody else too much. There is one more thing I do want to talk about, and it's the end credits scene. Oh boy. Just give me a minute. What a terrible way to set up future movies. It's literally just a throwaway line. That's it. You're teasing the next 2 big events in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is how you do it? A throwaway line? Stearns is all like, "Oh, yeah, I've seen it. You're not ready for it." Ah! Come on, man. You want people to get excited, right? I'm pretty sure this movie's end credit scene is going to heavily hurt your brand, guys. Overall, Captain America: A Brave New World is literally the definition of playing it safe. Nothing new or exciting is introduced, and it's pretty much the same things we've seen done better in previous MCU films. The plot is easily predictable, the characters are not that interesting, the pacing is all over the place, and a lot of the elements just feel half-baked, especially the action in the third act. It's not a bad film by any means necessary, but it's also really nothing to write home about either. It's just so painfully mediocre, and in terms of my own personal enjoyment, while it is an okay film at best, it really starts to anger me the more I think about it. It's really just a nothing movie. That's all it is. It's not the worst Marvel project we've seen thus far, but it's just bland and underwhelming. Overall, I'm gonna give Captain America: A Brave New World a 5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, links in the description below. I'll see you beautiful people later. Goodbye!
Yeah. I'm rapping. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Dare to Be Geeky. Yeah. What rhymes with yeah? Yeah.